Hi, I'm here with Marlynn McNutt of Fire Mountain Gems and Beads, and Marlynn is going to teach us about something that we probably take for granted all the time, buttons.
Yes.
They're very interesting, aren't they?
They are. They are. In history, they were used as a sign of wealth. They were used as adornment.
Wow. Something that you just take for granted as you're buttoning up your things.
Yes. Yeah.
Now, you brought some with you to show us a little variety of some of the buttons and how they came. You want to talk about those?
Okay. Yes. To begin with, back in history, they were made sometimes out of precious metal, precious gemstones. And then in the 19th century, they started mass production. And now most of the buttons made are plastic.
Wow.
But you can also still find them in wood, horn, leather, bone. We've got a good selection here, all the way down to Hill Tribe silver.
Oh, I can see that.
And we've got crystal buttons also in architectural shapes.
I was going to say, they come in such amazing shapes, like the circles, and you see some squares and almost an octagon shape.
Yes.
Quite fascinating. Now, what I think is great about this project is the fact that, something that you take for granted, like buttons, and you find them everywhere, you can actually add them to jewelry.
You can.
Show us how to do that, Marlynn.
All right, today we're going to start with a basic bracelet of peyote stitch.
Okay.
And this is 5 beads wide. So you're going to basically use your center row for all of your steps.
And we've taught that in previous episodes, how to actually do peyote stitch. Now, what type of beads did you use for the peyote stitch?
These are a number 6 hex.
Okay.
And they're in the iris finish.
Pretty.
Okay, so the first thing that you're going to do is take the center bead on one end of your bracelet, and you're just going to add a button.
Okay.
You'll go ahead and weave your thread through the bracelet back and forth to secure it.
Okay.
Come out the center bead, add your button, and then you'll just pull it down into place. And then you'll go ahead and you'll stitch back through the button and that center bead maybe 3 or 4 times.
To secure it.
To secure it and make sure that it's on there good and strong.
So you don't lose your bracelet.
Correct. And then you'll go ahead and weave the thread diagonally back and forth through the bracelet to finish the end off.
Wow, okay. Next step.
Okay, and then the next step will be to add the seed bead loop.
Okay.
And this is going to be the other end of the fastener.
Okay.
For your button. So what you're going to do is you're going to string some seed beads on, and you'll take your button and actually hold it in that loop.
To measure it.
To measure it, and make sure that you don't want it too loose so it slips off easily.
Exactly. Or too tight where you can't put it through to fasten it.
And then you'll go ahead and pull that down, and you will finish this off the same way that you did your button on the other end.
So by going all the way through.
You'll want to go back through all your seed beads and that center bead a couple of times, and then weave your ends back in to finish it off.
That sounds great. Okay, let's look at how it looks at the end.
Okay, and once you have your bracelet completed, then you'll go in and you'll add your buttons for adornment. You can add more than what we have here, or very few.
Now, how would you go ahead and do that? Are you going to demonstrate how to do one of them?
I am. I have gone ahead and woven the thread through the bracelet to attach it.
To the point where you want the adornment to begin.
Right.
Okay.
And you're going to use the center row of this bracelet. So I have come out of one of the beads in the center row. So what you're going to do is you're going to go ahead, just like you're going to sew it onto a piece of clothing.
Yeah.
Come up through the hole and back down through.
Okay. Using all of your techniques.
Yes.
Now, is there a particular type of thread that you're using for this?
I'm using size D Nymo for this particular project.
Okay.
Once you have your button in place here, then you'll want to weave around under that center bead and then back up and down through the holes maybe 2 or 3 times to secure it in place.
So that really makes a difference what size beads you use in the bracelet too, so that you have enough room to go back and forth with all the additional stitches that you're doing.
It does.
So you can just do that all the way through, and then wherever you want to put them.
Wherever you want to add the buttons, it's there. You can even just weave your thread back and forth through the center beads till you get to the next spot that you want to add a button.
It's just amazing what you can do with buttons.
It is. It is. There are so many different projects.
There are, and you brought some other additional things. That's the finished project of the bracelet.
This is the finished piece. And then this one is a right angle weave. And it is just a little bit different type of stitch.
Yes.
But it gives you a whole different look.
Yes, because it has a little bit more movement.
It does. It's a little more flexible.
Yeah. So pretty.
Thank you.
And it's not only just for bracelets, are they? Buttons.
No, they're not. No, they're not.
Okay, let's start off with these earrings down here. Now, what type of, those are more crystal type buttons that you're using? The architectural?
Those are the architectural crystals, and they're just put together with some seed beads.
Wow, so pretty, different lengths. And then the third one that we're looking at, that's just a button.
They're
the third
just
earrings.
The third earrings, they are just a gold metal button and with a little bit of wire work woven around the outside and a crystal dangle at the bottom.
So creative, Marlynn. And then, of course, you can string them. We're looking at the one, the necklace at the far end, that you've strung them like beads.
Yes. Yes, those are actually strung on double thread, so that they're a two-hole button.
Okay.
And they're mother of pearl.
That's right. And then, of course, you can use it as the focal bead as well.
Yes, you can. That's an old button out of a button box. And all we did was just run fringe through the two buttonholes.
Gorgeous. So fun and creative. Thank you so much, Marlynn. I love learning things from you.
Thank you.